What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony, aka the Senator of Chaos and Controversy, and there's something that I've been wanting to address for a very long time. And seeing an accumulation of examples when I entertain looking at a lot of videos on social media, it baffles me and disgusts me to no end when you have those with blatant disregard to respecting people's grievances when they deal with certain injustices that they cannot come back from. Because most people are no longer with us due to the fact that there are things that have still yet to be corrected. But being that we entertain deflecting, having this out of sight, out of mind, oh, because it doesn't affect me, or you got those that want to speak for certain groups to downplay certain instances or situations to where it's not taken that serious. And the narratives that is applied to certain instances or examples with the victimhood mentality, when I look at certain disgusting, horrible situations that I'm examining when I'm looking at countless videos on YouTube or other platforms or what have you, and I see stuff that those within the black community go through, whether it be with the gang violence, the inexcusable acts of violence, period, from law enforcement within our own community, from other communities, or what have you. But to write it off as a victimhood mentality, people have a right to express their grievances and to not be criticized for that. Those of us that know what the history is with this country and how it has affected black people, I don't get how you get, on one hand, people saying that, oh, black people always want to blame the white person for this, that, and everything else, but they never address those in the white community who love to want to point the finger at black people and blame us for every little fucking thing that goes wrong in their fucking life. And I'm looking at all the examples with Roe v. versus Wade. Oh, how come y'all black women this and that and that? Oh, this affects you. No, because people had nipped that little bullshit in the butt too, talking about the abortions has affected the black community far more than it has affected those in the white community. And I'm laughing because I'm seeing like the things that people tolerate. Like the one controversial situation is the LGBTQ agenda and the things that we are supposed to be conditioned to accept or else. But yeah, you want to talk about reproducing. Well, since that community is becoming more and more greater, you don't got to worry about reproducing or that being an issue. If motherfuckers are rooting for the same team, abortion is the least of your worries. Since, how should I put it, straight relationships is becoming obsolete. That's just how I'm seeing things. That's just an example. But I'm straying away from the topic at hand, to talk about the victimhood mentality. Now, you can't address racism because people want to sit there and act like it don't exist or it's not that big of a deal. But for the demographics that I always tend to want to point out as a factor when you're looking at this country and the states and the cities and the counties and the jurisdictions and stuff that divide it. Because the thing that bothers me is when I was looking at this post on Facebook today, one of the people that I follow and follow me their niece goes to this junior high, Morrison Junior High school, and her niece is being bullied, obviously by white kids, and they're calling her all racist, derogatory terms and stuff, and the school don't want to do nothing about it. Now, I don't care for bullying at all on any level and taking race out of the equation. You know, if you're a nerd, you shouldn't be bullied by jocks. If you're a person that's a gamer and stuff like that, you know, that's your thing. Even though nowadays it's more acceptable than what it was back when I was growing up, you know, um, how you look, you're being picked on by how you look. If you're poor, you're being picked on because you can't afford to go to school with certain clothes because you're getting picked on because, you know, whatever. And it's a bunch of bullshit. But, you know, this has been going on for some time. What I don't get is when you have adults that don't want to step in and correct a problem or issue because they're too busy catering to a certain ideology or a practice that people say don't exist because you can't bring up history and stuff because that seems to be a sore subject for those because it fucks with their feelings and stuff. But then again, let someone else tell it. Facts don't care about your feelings. But when you go to present the facts, oh, because it doesn't suit their narrative, we got we got to dispose of it. Okay. I look at it like this. The reason why I speak on racism, I'm a person that's biracial, so I can see things from both perspectives, from the black perspective and the white perspective to a certain extent on both sides. Racism is a cancer, racism exists. The teachings come from the household to begin with and other influences that follow. People entertain it because you got people that walk around with this sense of entitlement, this sense of I'm better than you, this sense of I got to entertain this stereotype to keep you at a particular level and put you down. And when you get people subjected to that type of ignorance and stuff, when they react, you want to sit there and fucking penalize the person for reacting to the motherfucking antagonist, but you don't want to say nothing to the fucking antagonist. Instead, you reward the motherfuckers. But no one sees that as a fucking problem. And when it goes to get addressed and shit, you want to sit there like boo boo the fool. But you want to sit there and bitch about some fucking CRT, say, oh, you know, the CRT is teaching kids to hate white people and stuff. But you don't want to talk about the white people that's teaching their fucking kids to fucking be disrespectful, ignorant, and hateful towards black kids. And you don't do anything to correct that shit. So it's business as usual on one end, but then you want to sit there and point the finger and blame black people for some other shit. Can't say nothing about white people. Can't point them out for their apparent bullshit. But as history has shown, as soon as they got rid of slavery and shit started to fuck up with white people, oh man, oh, the black people gonna come rape your woman. That's when all that racial tension started happening. Oh, the black people gonna come take your jobs. Oh, that's when all that mess started happening and stuff like that. Then here comes other groups that's coming in and they're looking at white people and how they're treating black people and shit, and they're like, oh, we don't want to be in that group categorized with black people, so let's side with the white people that don't like black people, and let's start with this anti-black racism or this anti-black rhetoric. And that's why you see it now where these other groups in the Asian community are getting called out, and the Latin community are getting called out, and other groups that want to entertain this anti-black rhetoric when it comes to African Americans or us melanated people. Because they want to sit and entertain a fucked up ideology just to be inside with those within the white community that are ignorant and hateful and racist. But then when you go to address that shit, it's all here you go. Okay, so let me explain something. When you when I point something out, it's because I address things. Because if I see something that's problematic, how the fuck can you correct something if you don't address it? That's like you go to the doctor, you're like, hey doc, something's wrong with me. I've been having this pain on my side. You come to find out you're starting to have kidney failure. Well, if you don't correct what's going on with your kidneys, then everything else is going to start falling by the wayside. Then you start finding out, okay, you might be diabetic, this, that, and everything else. It becomes a fucking domino effect. Okay? So before you start having further health issues, you go to the doctor does whatever he has to do, corrects the issue. Now you're back in good health. Well, racism is a cancer in this country. It divides groups, and we know at this particular point in time we cannot afford to be divided. Not what's going on with Ukraine, Russia, China, and all this other shit, because they're looking at us and they're like, these dumb motherfuckers don't learn a goddamn thing. They still fighting about the same shit. And yes, I hear the arguments about it's the government, but at the same token, you gotta look at people who when I talk about segregation, and I'm gonna keep bringing this up as a fucking point. Segregation wouldn't have been successful if you didn't have white people to accept it for what it's worth. I just watched a fucking video with what's his name, Tate something, and Brandon Tatum decided to, hey, I like what he said, okay, that's fine and dandy. I understand that point. But I'm not just going to disregard what still exists, what continues to be a problem, and act like it doesn't. That's the reason why shit don't get corrected, and that's the reason why you still have people that entertain the ignorance that they do now. But like I said, the reason why segregation was successful is because when you had poor black people and poor white people, and they were coming together on common ground, they were like, no, we can't have that. We got to separate them again. So when I talk about that white privilege with the whites only, and the white people that had their sense of entitlement to say we're better than the black people, so y'all move away from us and we have this for us, and you got the whatever, the scraps, whatever. You were still poor white trash, weren't you? Because the elite still kept you at the level that you were at. But they succeeded in dividing us. But you were too stupid and all about your self-entitlement to be like, oh, white is better than black. Until that got fought. But then there's controversy behind the whole integration shit. Some arguing integrating because black people, okay, we didn't have to depend on white people. We learned how to be self-sufficient. Even though that came with attacks on the black community from white people, which people don't want to sit there and talk about. Because we want to sit here and pretend that white people ain't never did anything fucked up. And I'm not sitting here trying to make this a video about bashing white people, but if you want to sit there and talk about how you don't like how white people are getting blamed for fucked up shit like racism or this or that and stuff, then how is it that if that's not acceptable, then why is it acceptable for us to be blamed for fucked up shit? You entertain one fucking narrative, but then when it gets challenged, you can't deal with it. Or you look at a person like me and want to write me off. Because the truth is something that you can't tolerate. Or you choose to not want to acknowledge. Because then following that comes accountability. I'll put it to you like this. I have kids that are mixed. My son I'm raising on my own. Okay? Now my son, he could pass for white, but looking at him, you could tell he got a mixture of me and him. Now if he goes to school and people don't know I'm his parent, they're going to automatically assume, oh, he's white. Now, what happens when the day comes when he's in one of these predominant white schools? And he comes home and one of the kids has seen me come pick him up or drop him off or whatever, and they're like, I didn't know your dad was a nigger. And he comes home and tells me, hey, Dad, someone said that you were a nigger. What does it mean to that? And I got to sit there and explain that to him. But I got to understand that even though I got to say 75% white because I'm half black and half white, that not all white people are fucked up and ignorant and shit, but I got to explain why there are those that are. Because they are so blatant with their fucking ignorance, they don't even fucking give a damn anymore. But then you get people like Brandon Tatum that won't fucking sit there and make excuses for them. Or you get some people who look at my fucking channel or look at my videos and say, there he go. Oh, he must be one of them. But don't listen to the content to understand the point that I'm trying to make. I'm tired of dealing with the gatekeepers of those who want to sit there and try to control what's acceptable in regards to particular narratives that's entertained. And then want to sit there and criticize other people because of them questioning particular narratives or challenging certain narratives because they are one-sided. I'm tired of when I go to talk about something and I say, okay, I understand the grievances here on one aspect, but then when I go to say, hey, but it doesn't only happen to this group, it happens to another group, and then it's just like, now you got those that say, oh, I thought you was down with the cause or da 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 da. But then I'm just like, I'm trying to show you that what affects one affects everyone else eventually. And until we see past a lot of the nonsense and the bullshit, but before we can do that, we got to correct what's already an existing issue. No, I don't entertain the victimhood mentality. How I was raised. Yes, I was raised fortunate. I was adopted by an all black family. Yes, my dad had told me there's going to be some things that I'm going to experience when I grow up as an adult. As a child, yeah, I might be safe, but when I become an adult, the rules and the attitudes of people towards me is going to change. And I've seen that. I've experienced it. I know what I'm talking about. It wasn't a bunch of bullshit or smoke that my dad was blowing up my ass. I seen things from when we were going into good neighborhoods and stuff, and the cops were calling on us because you had people who felt that we didn't belong there. I've witnessed that shit. So I don't care to hear people that want to say, oh, that stuff don't exist. When I've experienced it, and I'm looking at videos of other people who are sharing their same experiences and shit. And again, it's not to generalize one group and all, but goddamn, if I could sit there and say, yes, there are issues in the black community that you damn right, it needs to be corrected. Yeah, this is unacceptable. And I can agree with you, then by God, stop acting like the shit that goes on and coming from those in particular in the white community don't fucking exist. So that it doesn't get corrected because people want to blatantly give them a fucking pass for their ignorance. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, until next time, until next video, please like, share, and subscribe. Or if you don't like my content, continue unsubscribing. Like I said, I don't get paid. I don't have bots in my shit raising up my view count and my subscriber count and stuff like that. I do this for therapy. I do this to like have a peace of mind and vent, get shit off my chest, and digest a lot of stuff that I have, that I want to talk to you guys about and get feedback about and see if, there's an understanding to what I'm saying in my videos and if my content is worthy. But like I said, until next time, until next video, peace.